I'm so glad you're seeing this right now. So, the 100 Millionaire Summit was designed very specifically so that you could move through your business and your investing this year and maximize your results. But in order to do that, I needed somebody special to come in and be a part of this event. And so, every person that I've chosen to be here with us is very, very key to getting a point across, and they're the authority on what they do. So today I've got the glue to the entire event, which is the mindset piece. Doug, the mentor mindset maximizer, McGuirk, welcome, and let's share a little bit about what this mindset stuff is all about. Why is it so important?
Well, thank you. So, mindset is, as we like to say, we know that. Right, the three worst words one can say to cut off all growth is "we know that." Yeah, of course, we hear that all the time. Mindset's most important. Mindset, and the conversation we had earlier, simple, not easy to master our mindset. And why is that? Well, because our head is already so close to ourselves that we are listening to our own conversations, our own thing, and we could invest in, excuse me, there you go, the 100 Millionaire mindset. And you know what's interesting, actually, as you know, you've been on our show, the Real Deal on, and what I do is I interview successful people. And they're almost always, without fail, also multimillionaires. And here's one thing that they've each said. The first million was the hardest. But not because what I needed to do. It wasn't about the things I needed to do. It was what I needed to believe, what I needed to, my mindset. I had to wrap myself around possibility. It was something that had to click in a combination of worth, in a combination of possibility thinking, in a possibility of also willingness to go that extra mile in stretching myself. Whether it be attending a training or taking a risk at buying that first property or whatever it is. But it was all up here that would stop them from even doing the next step. So that's why, again, this event is so important. Because that's, without that, like, you're going to learn all the cool techniques. You're going to learn the tools. You're going to have the opportunity to speak to each person. There you go. You've got it all. And yet, you still have to go out and take the action.
That's one of the pieces that I push and I speak about, but people don't seem to grasp. How do you teach somebody who is so used to working, and hoping things work out, that it's actually up here. It's not what you do, it's why you do it, how you do it, that matters more than just the activities. Like, how do you show somebody that there is actually something wrong with their mindset?
Well, it's not that there's something wrong. It's working perfectly, going the wrong way. Think about it, right?
So what does that mean? Yeah.
So our brains are designed to keep us safe. We're wired for non-pain. So what happens is we start getting overwhelmed, and then the fear creeps in. Like, something's so simple. So I'll give you a great example. Today, I was speaking with my mother. If it's not one thing, it's my mother. But so I was sharing with her, she just sold a property, and she's sitting on some cash, and a sizable amount, and she can 1031, she can't go into a multi, and I don't want to confuse our friends here about all this, but the point is that she couldn't do some of the things I wanted to work with her on, like getting a multifamily, and she had a sizable sum. So it's like, hey, Mom, let me help you get into some hard money lending. We'll get you 11% interest only. You can make some great money, secure money, collateralized money, and you can make it like that. And simple, right? I mean, the concept of private money
Makes sense.
simple. Collateralized, it's a mortgage, it's just quick. The reason why people do it is because they don't have time to go through the banks and all of that. It's going to be for a short period of time, 3 to 6 months. It's the cost of doing business, but it's effective.
My private money guys explain it to me all the time. They're like, this is why I do it. It's just easier than going and doing what you're gonna go do.
Right, exactly. So, but guess what happened? Her mind starts getting in the way. She starts going, "Oh, I don't know, I don't understand. So, how is it taxed?" And I'm like, "Well, Mom, you just do self-directed IRA. It's tax-free. You just lend out of it and you put the money back in, you build it, and then you take it out later. But if you've got the money, it's you're making great interest, better than perhaps some of your other opportunities, and you have enough that you can do little." And she's still like, "Oh, I don't know." So why is that? Our brains get in the way. The concept is simple, but the fear around the unknown, the fear behind other people's stories, right? So they'll
OPS,
share
the big OPS, other people's stories.
Yeah. And we all have them. And that's the thing. The difference is when you surround yourself with people who their stories are also ones that excite you, that inspire you, that think in possibility, it starts to break open our mindset. That being said, the challenge, this is why everyone watches motivational videos, right? We've got the playlists and like we're all doing that, and that's great. The thing why this conversation is so important when you ask the question is those are great once you break through. You need to immerse yourself in an environment that you can't be distracted. If you're listening to a motivational video, the odds are you're probably doing something else too, right? You're working out, maybe you're answering some emails and it's in the background. You're doing something as well. It's no extra
paper
time.
Therapy. I'm just counting dollars and making sure the things are coming through.
Right. And so here's what's different. You can do that because you've already broken through, and now that's maintenance.
Yeah.
We've got to, and by the way, you still go to events, you still immerse yourself in the environment. That's not to say you don't do that anymore, but the maintenance of the motivational videos and the incantations and the hypnosis and all that are on top of, they're not in lieu of the work, the otherness. So the 100 Millionaire Summit is what is so important. Yeah, to immerse yourself in an environment that challenges you. You don't have the distractions, where we actually get in and give you the opportunity to have that visceral experience, not the intellectual experience, but the actual emotional tear down, break through those fears, so that when now you sit down and you're having the opportunity to chat with you and you're up on stage and you're sharing something, but we've started to break through some of those thoughts. Now, when you make a plan, which you will do at the event, you can execute. Now you go, here's my hallucination. While you're at the event, what's going to happen is not only will you be executing at the event, you'll be making those calls, you'll be going, okay, not only putting together your action list, but starting to take action on them. You're going to meet people doing the exact same thing that are going to say, yeah, let's do it. Let's partner up. Let's JV. I'm your yin to your yang. Like, we've got I'm your chocolate to your peanut butter. Like, there's going to be opportunities to build on while you're there, taking momentum, breaking through. And when I say breaking through, we're actually going to have some breakthrough experiences as well. Not just metaphorically speaking, but literally speaking, the opportunity to have in your nervous system what's possible, so that you hit the ground running, so that when you continue with your motivational videos and the hypnosis and the incantations and affirmations and all of that, you're now vibrating up here, going to the next level, not just keeping yourself out of depression.
Right. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs spend their time there. A lot of investors convince themselves that analysis paralysis is just a part of the process. Analysis paralysis is actually a good thing. You know, I'm analyzing, it was just a bad deal, or, you know, the numbers just weren't right. But if you stay in the game long enough, you actually see somebody else go buy that deal, make money, and then buy four more deals because they made so much money. And it's that mindset piece that I needed somebody who had it. I need, like, when I designed all of this, I said, I need somebody who can get into the emotions and clear those things out so that people can start taking action. And the breakthroughs are the strategy to do it. I have seen you do breakthroughs live so many times now where I'm just like, my God, like, Doug is the best at this. I've seen so many breakthroughs all across the country, different coaches, different trainers. But what you do actually creates action right afterwards. And I like what you said about taking action at the event. Whenever I go to an event and it's moving me, I'm texting my team. I'm just like, hey, I need this done. Like, we're going to do this. It's the next direction. Mm-hmm. So actively at the event, people will be taking action in their business, moving things along, thanks to the breakthroughs that you're going to be bringing them through. What is, if you could say, that the biggest reason for somebody to be at the event and show up on time and show up with a high level of energy to take action? What is the biggest reason to do that?
How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you are committed to getting results, you're going to have to change what you've been doing now. So if you like, let's say you're already crushing it. Let's say you're already doing fantastic. What you know is there's another level. You already know the reason why you're crushing it is because you challenged yourself to one level, and now it's time to get to the next level. So the idea of complacency or status quo is gone now. I mean, it's always been, but now more than ever, as crazy as things are getting, if you're not really understanding how important it is to develop yourself and to surround yourself with people, not just like virtually. Like, get the F out of Zoom, get off of social media, get off of that. Like, you know, even if you are spending it all in positivity, get the F out and get into a room with people for a few days. Because what happens is relationships are built. It's no longer like, I mean, I've got friends around the world from being at events. And thank you for the compliment in regards to the impact of the work that I do. It's, quite honestly, it's to 20,000 hours. Like, I not to quote Rush Limbaugh, I mean, I definitely have talent on loan from God. I recognize that, and we all do. I've also spent 20,000 hours developing it and, you know, being mentored, like literally on the road with Tony Robbins for several years, and being stage trained, personally trained by him and by the people who trained him in NLP, in the breakthroughs, in the firewalks, like all of those. So, you know, the opportunity here is you're getting, like, everyone at the 100 Millionaire Summit is going to be absolute top-notch experts in their field. And to have, like, and here's the other thing. This is the first one. Now, what's amazing about that is, one, you get to say, I was at the first one. Like, that's like one of those where you go back in the day, like, people still talk about, I was at Tony Robbins' first date with Destiny in his house, and they get to say it was only 100 people there, right? And like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, that one must have been amazing. So like, this is when it's the first one, man, you get to be the OG. You get to be the one who's ahead of the curve. And what do they say about anything is the sooner you get in, the better results you're going to get. And by the way, it's always now. So if you've been on the fence wanting to get into real estate, if you've thought to yourself, oh my gosh, like I've had it up to here, I need to get to the next level, you have to take the next step. You can't just keep running the same pattern. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you got. What's Les Brown say? In order to have what others don't, you've got to be able to do what others won't, right? Or something along those lines, right? So the power of this as well is especially if it's a stretch for you in time, energy, money, all of that, that's going to put so much more power and leverage behind it that it's a game changer. Like you are destined for even faster and more greatness the sooner you start getting into the process, the sooner you start getting on board. Just making the decision to go to an event like this and like booking it, you're already setting the ball in motion. Your brain starts going, oh my gosh, what's next possible? I mean, I've got this coming up. Man, I've got to hit the ground running. Like, so I'll give you a great example. You know, I'm in the middle of I'm in contract right now for a flip, and I haven't closed yet. But I still already had my AC guy over there. I already had like I'm already doing stuff because once it's closed, we got to hit the ground running.
Yep.
So what'll happen is once you make the decision to join us, your brain is going to start going, well, now I'm committed. Now I'm going. What am I working on? What am I going to come with to the event? What process, what progress, what can I already be in the middle of so that when I get there, I can utilize all of the tools, resources, experts, opportunities here and hit the home run right there and not go back and be like, what was I going to do? You're already, just so much happens once you make the decision to start growing, to start really investing in yourself.
It's about speed to action, right? Like success is show up, take action. And if you show up faster, sooner, you make more money faster, sooner. I started all of this in 2015. If I'd started in 2010, I would be probably 10 times bigger than I am right now. If somebody had taken my hand and said, hey, you got to go do this. And it was going to an event, I was reading a book, it was going to an event. And then I started taking action after that event. If only somebody had cared about me enough to bring me there faster, to show me the way. And instead, I had to go suffer for an extra 5 years on my own, and then eventually read the book by myself, and eventually go to the event by myself. But if somebody had cared about me and reached out and said, "Hey, you should come to this. I'm going to go with you," then my life would have been totally different. And I know that. It's speed to action. It's about showing up, taking action, and being in a high level of energy. Because if I hadn't believed in myself, if I hadn't been so desperate to move forward and do something, I probably wouldn't have. If I had just been complacent in life and happy with it, maybe I'd still be where I was.
Right. And that's what we're going to do at the event, is also create that energy within yourself so that you take the action. It's not going to be, we can, with humility say this is not going to be an everyday event. This is going to have a level of intensity and of engagement and of power that you probably haven't experienced in a while, for two reasons. One, you may not have ever been to any sort of event like this. And secondly, we've all been a little cooped up for the last 2 years. So, you kind of owe it to yourself to get the F out too. Especially if you're in another state that isn't as free and open as Florida is as well. What you will find is that it is so refreshing to actually breathe and to do stuff and to connect and to high five. And what you realize is that you've been living in, and this isn't a political thing, we all do this, we live in our own cages. We get it stuck into these chains of thought, right? Here's a quick story, a little thought. You may have heard this story. I believe T. Harv shared it. One day, back in olden timey days, there was the traveling circuses. And the elephants, what's interesting, they're giant, to weigh multiple tons. And how do you keep an elephant from walking away? Well, when they're a baby, you take a chain and you put it around their leg, and then you take that chain and you tie it to a pole, and then they know that they can't go any further. That's their circumference. That's all they can go. And they know, here's as far as I can go, and that's it. As the elephant gets bigger, does the chain get bigger? The answer is no, it actually gets smaller. They leave the chain on the elephant, but the chain around its leg, but the chain that attaches to the pole to keep them stuck ends up being a rope, just for ease, because for the handlers, they don't have to be dealing with this giant chain, and the elephant feels the pressure and they go, I'm stuck. This is as far as I could go. Even though they could just walk and break the chain, break the rope, they get to a certain point and they go, I'm done. This is as far as I could go. Well, back in old-timey traveling circuses, one day there was a fire and all of the elephants perished. Even though the rope had burned, they still had the chain around their foot, so they thought they were, that was as far as they could go. So the message here is the chains are too heavy to break until they're too light to be broken.
So interesting.
Yeah, so we have these thoughts that keep us chained. And especially when we've got all of this fear coming in right now, there are people who have little ropes that have burned away, but we're still stuck because we're buying into the fear of the market, the fear of what it's going to cost, the fear of all this, and we're getting bogged down. And you've got to get out of that. And the best way to get out of that is to completely remove yourself from whatever environment you're in, get into a new environment, even if it's just for a few days, because what'll happen is you're going to prime your pump of possibility, create relationships so that you can build upon that momentum after the fact, but you've got to raise your level of participation, of energy, of everything in order to get to that next level. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken.
I knew that's what you meant.
Yeah.
For everybody who's listening, Doug McGuirk wrote the book Under Construction, Navigating the Detours on the Road to Recovery, because we are all in recovery. We're given the wrong hypnosis when we started, and it's time to hypnotize our own minds to the right path to be successful. You can have everything that you want, but you first have to believe, and you first have to understand how to get there. So, Doug, for anybody who's listening, you have to show up. It is about showing up. It is about being successful. Speed to action is the key to results. And if you go to ibuildmillionaires.com/summit, you can still get a discount. Buy your tickets today and bring a friend. If you care about somebody and you want to see them successful, you should bring them along. Don't just go and get on this journey and start building a gap between you and your friends. Try to share the knowledge, bring them along, at least give them the rope, at least give them the opportunity, and don't be the elephant. Don't sit there thinking that the past is holding you back, and know that you can move forward. You have to understand that and see that that is the truth. Doug, any final words before we jump off? I know I got to jump to another meeting. I know you've got another thing you're doing.
Yeah, me too. So if this resonated with you, if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you are ready to up level every area of your life and make that commitment to yourself, and by the way, you owe it to your family, you owe it to society, you owe it to God, to be your absolute best, to contribute the most, to really be able to add as much value as humanly possible. And by the way, you can't give it if you don't have it. So we look forward to seeing you there, and know that you will be in great hands, and promise you that this will be a game changer, that paradigm shifts will occur within you so that you can enjoy the joys without.
There's plenty of room at the top. We will see you at the summit.
Amen.
Cheers.